All right, welcome to another episode of the West Michigan Minute podcast. This is not a minute long, but it is a podcast. And today I'm joined by a good friend of mine, Bryan Paul with Lake Michigan Credit Union. We're going to talk about all things mortgage, interest rates, the economy, what's happening, whatever Bryan wants to talk about, variety of different things. So exciting episode today. Excited to have you guys join us. Bryan, thanks for being here with me today too. Appreciate you always being helpful.
Very happy to be here. Excited to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah, today I wanted to bring you on because I think there's a lot happening in the world as a whole, but also just in our jobs, right? Selling real estate, doing mortgages, finance, all that good stuff. So tell us a little bit about, what do you think, is happening right now? And most importantly, what do people need to be doing to kind of prep right now for if they're thinking of making a move in 2025?
Love it. Yeah, I think the first thing is understanding your finances. If you're not understanding fully what your options are, where you're at, how much money you're going to need down to buy a house, what your monthly payment is going to be, those are really important questions to be asking up front. And it steers you in the right direction as far as how much to spend on a house, what type of home you can buy, and how soon.
Yeah. I think a lot of people maybe put the cart before the horse, it feels like, in our industry. Yeah. They just start looking at houses, they find the one they want, and then they're like, oh crap, how are we gonna,
yes.
What does the mortgage process look like? And they are racing to get that all figured out. And I think sometimes they do that. And then they also ultimately get locked into a situation where they may not even have the best rate, the best closing costs. They just kind of like one-stop shop it, right?
Yes, it's really important for them to plan ahead, prepare, save money for a down payment, consult with professionals to understand what they should be doing with their money. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have great clients. We're very fortunate to have great clients. I always feel blessed in that respect. And some of these people come to us with money they don't know what to do with it. So if they can get in touch, or you can put them in touch with somebody that can guide them on that, so important. This is a great amount of money to put down. This is some money that maybe you should consider paying off some debt with, can get them in a better position. And I love to consult with people ahead of time and kind of make a budget, make a plan so that they're getting the best options.
I feel like we're going to talk about a variety of price points and buyers here, but let's talk about somebody who's maybe a first-time home buyer, or maybe they own a home, but they have poor credit. Mm-hmm. And they really need to figure out how to get out of that hole so they can move and buy a place.
Absolutely.
What do you recommend?
First thing I like to do is get them pre-qualified. And what that means is we take a look at their income, we take a look at their credit, we're looking at what they have saved up, if anything, for a down payment, and we make a plan. With what you have going on right now, this is the type of loan you can qualify for. This is what it looks like. We make sure they're comfortable with it. If they're not in a position to qualify right now, like let's say credit's maybe just a little bit lower than it needs to be, we can look at using some of the money they have saved up to pay off some debts, get that credit score up a little bit. So we can be really creative with time. It's nice to connect as early as possible. When you're thinking about buying, I always encourage people to jump on a call. Let's plan it out, whether it's 12 months in advance, 6 months in advance. Having time is very helpful, and things only get better over time.
Ian, planning ahead. I think a lot of people just assume that everything they see online is factual. And these websites, what I'm realizing is all these websites are trying to push mortgages and like giving you all this information. And I mean, a lot of it is great and helpful. And I think people love having a lot of this information at their fingertips. Like you can literally look up your current home and it will tell you what equity they estimate you have. And if you were to refinance, what the rate would be.
Yes.
But that stuff's also changing on a daily basis, right? And I feel like more and more people are finding that not all that information is accurate either.
Yeah.
How hard is it for somebody to, reach out to your office and get, pre-approved? Let's just say that. Like that's one thing,
We try to make that pretty easy. Everybody's scenario is a little different. Somebody that comes to me and shares their story, I can typically, during that first conversation, understand and help them understand how quickly we can get that done. A lot of times it's, the same day, 24 hours is pretty normal. People that have more complicated finances, then sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And we can, if we have any doubts about someone's ability to qualify too, I can take that file, I can take that application, and I can put it in front of an underwriter and have them sign off on that loan in advance. So they don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to get approved. We get it done in advance. And that's a really nice thing to have as a tool.
Well, you haven't said this yet, but I think a lot of people should know, Bryan is one of the top lenders in the country, let alone in Michigan. And you've done that by helping people from all walks of life get mortgages. And I think you do a really good job of explaining the process. And I think a lot of people don't realize it's not just you just put in like a little bit of information and then you just get an automatic spit out. Like there's a lot of options I think people have as well that they don't know about, right? Especially on the loan side of things.
Yes. We offer about 40 different loan types. Don't quote me on that, but it feels like more. There are so many different options, and it's kind of like a puzzle. And that's kind of that's what lenders do for fun. We put this puzzle together. We figure out the best possible options. Somebody that comes to me to get a home loan might have many options. They might have 10 options, especially if they're well qualified. But there's typically something that stands out as the best type of loan for them. And that's why I try to educate them on, here are a couple of options. This is the one that makes the most sense, and here's why. So it's not a difficult process, and it can be kind of a cool thing to get it done up front because numbers aren't very exciting. We want to make sure you're comfortable with your loan. The exciting part is getting out with you and seeing homes. And if people are comfortable with the numbers, they can go have fun with you and go see houses.
Yeah, and I think one of my thoughts is that this year is going to be an incredible year on the luxury side as well. And you guys do like jumbo loans, you do all different kinds of things, right? But I think that if you're somebody who's looking to make a move, interest rates are changing daily. So make sure you're on top of that. Someone like Bryan can give you all that information. But also too, just knowing all the different loan products out there. And if you own a business, if you have, investments, if you have real estate that you own, there's so many different ways that they can utilize that, right? To get people different types of loan products.
A lot of people use equity. Equity in their current home. We have the option to do what we would call a bridge loan. We can take home equity loans out on current homes to use as a down payment on the next home. One of the most popular tools that I see a lot of clients, especially your clients, you're dealing with a lot of people that have bought their first home and now they're buying their second or third home or investments and cottages. So these people typically have a lot of equity. Did you know the average homeowner has, let's say, average renter has 3% net worth of a homeowner? 3% of the net worth of somebody that owns a home. It's incredible the amount of wealth you build when you own homes. So really cool fun fact. I like that. And we can use that equity. We can use that net worth to take that money and put it into the next home. We offer the option to buy a home and then pay the loan down later and lower that monthly payment. So sometimes we have people that will buy with a minimal down, 5% down, sell their other home later, pay the loan down, and end up with a lower monthly payment.
Is that the recast that you talk about?
It's called a recast.
And it's like not a refinance. There's no cost involved for that either, right?
It's a $250 fee. So relatively minor cost, but there is a cost.
So expensive.
Yeah.
$250.
Yep. You don't have to refinance. It's not a difficult process, but it allows you the opportunity to stay in your current home while you're shopping. You move into the new home, you sell your house, and then you pay the new loan down and end up with that lower monthly payment.
So I think that's one thing that you guys do that is very underutilized or people are not aware of. Like you don't have to go in with 30% down on your next house. If you've got the equity in your current home, do the minimum down payment, go non-contingent. This is a key thing. By the way, mark my words, this is going to be one of the best years in real estate we've ever had.
Love that.
And I think that if you guys want to win, you need to make sure that you're able to be not contingent on the sale of your current home, which we can talk to them about how to do that. And then when your home sells, you recast, you take the equity out of your home and you pay down as much on that mortgage as you want to, and you get that payment, based on 30% down or whatever it may be.
Absolutely.
And it's $250 cost to do that.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yep. It's awesome. Yeah, we make sure they qualify with both homes, so they're qualifying, having enough income to support both payments for a short period of time. And you're so fantastic at making sure they have the strategy where maybe they can stay in their home a little bit longer after they close on the sale of it. They have a little bit of possession. Maybe you have an extended closing on the purchase, so they don't have to worry about having two mortgage payments at once for a long period of time. So there's some really strategic ways that a realtor and a lender can work together to make sure the client is getting the best possible outcome. You guys are so fantastic at that. I'd be really curious to hear what you have to say about what has happened in the market over the last few months. You talked about maybe some luxury being kind of a focus over the next 3 to 6 months or so, something like that.
I think this year will be a phenomenal year for luxury real estate. The last 6 months, basically since the election, up until maybe a month ago, the real estate market was completely dead for the most part. Like, I'm being dramatic, but I feel like overall sales really dropped. You didn't see a lot of activity in the market. People were kind of holding back. People weren't really listing their homes. no exaggeration, I think we have probably 20 homes, maybe 30 homes that will be hitting the market in the next month and a half.
It's incredible.
Just our team.
Wow.
So think about everybody else out there and how much activity they have.
It makes you wonder if that was insecurity because of the election and the presidency and all the changes in our economy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having an effect locally. That's pretty interesting. So what an interesting year this is going to be for sure.
I think it's going to be a phenomenal year. I think those that take advantage of buying earlier are going to be better off, like especially if you're in that first or second time home buyer market. I think it's going to be really competitive again this year. I could see us having the multiple offer thing we had before.
Yeah.
I could see interest rates dropping quite a bit, actually, from what I'm hearing. We'll see what happens with oil prices. We'll see what happens with all the different, global economics, things that are, in the planning stages right now, wars that are ending that could really impact real estate. Mm-hmm. So I think this year is going to be a phenomenal year in real estate, but I think people need to be prepared and they need to know what their options are. If you come in at the 11th hour, you're probably not going to get the house that you want, in my opinion, this year.
It's true.
Bryan, I got a question for you. I'm just curious, how are you seeing people use the equity in their home currently?
We're getting a lot of inquiries about equity. People have built a lot of wealth through homeownership. I have a fun story. I had a friend that was a contractor. He would do renovations and roofs and that sort of thing. And he built his own home. And he did it a few years back. In a relatively short period of time, he was able to amass a decent amount of equity. And with that, we have home equity tools. So he takes out a home equity line of credit on his house and decides that he's going to kind of chase that dream that he's always had of being an airline pilot. And he goes out and he uses the equity in his home to go to flight school and to teach himself how to fly, and gets to the point where he goes and works for American Airlines. Now he works for Southwest, doing the thing that he loves. So sometimes that equity that you're building in your home isn't always used to buy the next house. It can be used for other things. And I thought that was a really cool thing.
Yeah, that is really interesting. It doesn't have anything to do with buying a house per se, but using the equity that you do have in your home to make dream come true, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
It makes me feel good about what we're doing every day. A lot of times people are so excited to buy a house and to get in and move in and experience life in that house. But I think of all the other things, the good things that come from homeownership.
I love that. What do you think what's going to happen with interest rates?
I think a slow slide over the course of the next couple of years would be the most reasonable prediction. It's possible that we could see rates move down quickly. I'd love to see that. I don't think it's likely. I think that right now, the best thing someone can do is plan on interest rates being what they are right now, budget for that, make sure you're comfortable with it. And if they go down later, we'll save you some money by refinancing.
Mm-hmm. I think a big impact on it will be what happens with global politics.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a lot going on right now. I mean, we've seen rate fluctuations just this week as much as 0.5%. Over the last couple of months, rates have been up and down, 0.75%, almost 1%. There's a whole lot that affects interest rates. So in the short term, lots of fluctuations. Long term, I would predict a slow slide to lower rates.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I think there will be some volatility, more or less, where it could drop, come back up, who knows, right? But I think bottom line is getting prepared. I also think that, they say date the rate, not the, and marry the mortgage kind of, if you will. And what people mean by that is your interest rate will always fluctuate. And if it goes down, you can refinance easily. The price you buy your home at, you're locked in. You can't renegotiate that 6 months later, right? So if you can get a good deal now, which, by the way, people are getting deals right now. I don't know if you've heard that or not, but there's actually deals to be had right now. If you buy that home maybe at a higher interest rate and a lower price and then refinance it later on, you're going to be better off in the long run.
It's such an incredible wealth builder. I mean, on the lakeshore, in Michigan in general, what is the average appreciation? 5% per year. On the lakeshore, we're seeing close to 8% in appreciation in homes per year. The average homeowner is owning a home for 13 years. So you think about the wealth that you build, the equity you build just from the home appreciating. So it's just a fantastic investment. And I'd love to see people get in this time of year while there's still snow on the ground. They can be a little more competitive, I think, because it's going to be a busy spring.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm excited for it. Well, Bryan, we appreciate you joining us today. Hopefully this was helpful information for all of you. And as we always say, if you guys have questions, we're just normal human beings, happy to have a conversation with you. We'll have our information below. Call us, text us anytime. That is what we do. We talk to people. We give them free information, basically, right? and we'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. So if anyone has a question, don't hesitate to reach out. This is the West Michigan Minute Podcast with Bryan Paul and Kyle Geenen. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope to see you again soon.